What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and today I've got a video that I'm very excited about because there's only a few things that I like to do, and when I'm not working, I'm either watching TV, a bit of sports, a little bit of gaming as well, and maybe some golf in there because it's the summer. But the home theater is like a very important part of my entire setup, whether we're in the office, which is where I'm at right now, or at home. So behind me, I have the Sony Bravia A90J OLED TV. It's the 83-inch size, and it's part of their Master Series. And if you guys have been following this entire office makeover in the past year, you might have seen I had the previous generation top-end Sony OLED TV, and I absolutely loved it. Whether it was the image quality or the acoustic surface audio, which was like a feature that is exclusive to Sony, and I haven't seen anybody do anything like it, or just like the overall OLED experience and the characteristics of it, it was a perfect TV. And now we've got the 2021 model, and I want to give a huge thanks to Best Buy and Sony for sponsoring this video. If you guys want to go ahead and check it out for yourself, I'm going to drop a link down below, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Best Buy, where they have all of your technology needs taken care of, whether it's in-store or online. So this video is essentially the ultimate OLED TV home theater experience for 2021, where we have the largest TV in their lineup of the A90J, and we're gonna go through all the features of the optimization, the XR cognitive intelligence, and the contrast, clarity, and also motion optimizations that they have, as well as the HDMI 2.1 support and how that works in conjunction with the next generation games on the PlayStation 5, and of course, also the Acoustic Surface Audio Plus, and how it utilizes the large and thin OLED panel to actually serve audio through that to give you an immersive experience, while also being able to use as a center channel with an actual home theater audio system like we have right here. We're also going to talk about the streaming services that are built in the Google TV experience, and also highlight some of the new features in the 2021 model, including an increased brightness, which is something that you always want with an OLED TV. So as a channel that covers like a cool tech series that goes over the best products for consumers and products of good value, we also take a look at the best available technology at a given time, and this TV being the top of the line definitely fits that criteria. So if you guys enjoy videos like this, make sure you go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite feature of the ultimate living room, and let's just go ahead and get started. So when it comes to the actual design of the TV though, as I mentioned, I had the 77-inch Master Series previous to this one, and I thought that looked really good. OLED TVs are all very thin, it had the nice platform stand, and in this year's model, they actually have the stand that goes on both sides, and it can be used in 3 different configurations depending on your setup. So the one that I have right here is just the TV like floating on the cabinet. It looks like it's coming right out of the furniture, and it looks really good in my opinion. But if you want to use like a sound bar, you can also raise it as well, or you can also have the stand in the middle. It just comes down to personal preference, and of course you can also wall mount it as well, and they have an ultra slim wall mount that is sold separately that allows it to mount right up to the wall to make it look as seamless as possible. The side of the TV is super thin, and on the back it also comes with all the necessary covers to hide all the wires and just having it look very seamless from all directions. One of the most important things in making the most of your TV experience starts right out of the box. As soon as you set up in your space, it's a lot more than just putting the TV on the stand and plugging it into the wall and booting it up for the first time, but instead this TV actually has a lot of calibration features that adapt it to the scene that it's in, and it also continues to adapt depending on the time of day or the amount of light that is coming in from the room. So right out of the box, the TV is able to actually adjust the tone curve as well as the color depending on the color temperature of the given room. So in most houses, I feel like it's more of a warmer tone, and unless you painted your walls like crisp white and did like polished concrete floors like this place, it does have more of like a cooler tone, and the TV is able to adapt to that accordingly. And at night, obviously there's not as much natural light coming in, so it will adapt the brightness as well depending on the time of day, and that is definitely noticeable. And as someone who records video in cinema cameras and also edits and does like color grading in DaVinci Resolve, adjusting your tone curve and having the proper white balance is essentially the most important thing in your footage, and it really doesn't matter what camera you're using. That rule kind of applies to everything, that the best footage that you're going to get is when it's balanced to the scenario before you actually apply the stylistic grade to that footage. Another really cool feature that I saw out of the box though was acoustic audio calibration. So because the remote is able to connect via Bluetooth to the TV, I was able to sit in the position that I usually plan to watch TV and start the audio calibration calibration, and it was literally done in less than 10 seconds, and it's able to use the microphone in the remote of where you're sitting to figure out how far the TV is and how it can adjust the tone accordingly based on like the EQ levels. And it also does a really good job of giving you like a surround-like experience through the acoustic surface audio depending on the room that you're in. So it's no secret that this room is not the best in terms of acoustic treatment. The ceilings are very high, there's like different areas of the space, and the TV is able to kind of bounce that sound back and based on the echo pickup through the mic that is built in, optimize it as best as it can. So I think just on the setup itself, from the tone adjustments to the color balance and the brightness paired with the audio, it really does focus on every aspect of adapting it to the room that it's in. Also, not to forget, this TV goes through the highest level of factory calibration and also additional steps of calibration because it is part of the Master Series. So some of the improvements that you're going to find in the 2021 A90J is increased peak brightness and increased overall brightness, which is great for an OLED TV. But perhaps one of the best set of features is when it comes to the XR optimization. So cognitive intelligence is pretty much what it sounds like. It takes what like the human brain would typically kind of approach objects that we see, whether it is like a plant, for example, clouds in the sky, maybe like people, and are able to categorize different things that we see based on what we know. And with the XR cognitive intelligence, it is able to identify different objects within an image and apply the optimization through the picture technologies to give you the best image possible. So some of those include XR contrast, XR sharpness, XR motion, and it's able to kind of decipher different parts of that image, whether it's like a cloud in the sky, people, or something like running or moving. It does that by cross-analyzing the image and also identifying the focal point of the scene as well. Talking about the image quality overall though, being the flagship TV in Sony's lineup, I obviously had very high expectations, and I can tell you it is absolutely stunning. This TV is not only factory calibrated, but with all these features that come together, it does show that Sony has a focus on like a lens to living room experience, and especially if you're watching compatible footage or like movies that really take advantage of this optimization, such as in the IMAX optimization or in the Netflix mode, it shows that they have a big focus on representing the image exactly the way that it was intended, because a lot of times these movies are very high produced and there's all these great features and like high quality footage, but at the same time, if your TV is not like properly color calibrated or temperature calibrated, it just looks really bad on the big screen. So what I noticed right away is that it is extremely color accurate, and the TV just does an incredible job of displaying images that are not only accurate and the way that they're supposed to be, but also very pleasant through the optimization and what it's able to sense through the content. From a visual characteristics standpoint, with an OLED TV, you do have expectations when it comes to having great contrast and very deep blacks, and I can say that this is obviously able to do that, but beyond that, I also noticed just how smooth the dark contrasted areas of blacks were, especially in content that is specifically optimized through the processing system. I try to play a variety of content through Bravia Core or also through Netflix, and I also tested some HDR content as well, and especially with like Dolby optimized footage in Netflix, I noticed that like a dark scene, as you can see right here, just has like a very good level of contrast while not washing out dark details. The colors do absolutely bring out, but one characteristic that I like about Sony's lineup in particular is the calibration and the fact that it doesn't push the saturation of certain colors to the extremes like you might see with other OLEDs. When it comes to the modes to use, there's the normal mode, which is a little bit more like standard out of the box, but if you want to maximize the brightness and just the amount of punch in general, the vivid mode is the one that I personally preferred, and that pushes the panel to its maximum brightness of over 900 nits, but beyond that, the optimization aspect is what really contributes to the illusion of an increased brightness as opposed to just what is on the spec sheet alone. But before we move on to gaming, I just want to cap it off, as the panel is definitely one thing, and I know a lot of manufacturers do share panel companies, but where Sony has really applied their experience in the world of imaging, movie making, and also in the sound side of things is the overall optimization through software and the processing engine of the TV. When it comes to the inputs as well, you have two HDMI 2.1 ports as well as two HDMI 2.0 ports, and also support for HDMI eARC for audio, which stands for audio return channel. And so in my case, the setup is a receiver that goes to the eARC, the PlayStation 5 is connected to the 2.1 port, the cable box is connected to the 2.0 port because it doesn't need the 2.1, but what's nice is that this fully supports HDMI 2.1, so if you're playing next generation games, you can have that full 4K 120 frames per second to enjoy on the big screen. It's no secret that OLED TVs in the past have not really been known to be the best for gaming, but with the HDMI 2.1, it not only future-proofs it, but features such as variable refresh rate and also the full support for 4K 120, which doesn't actually have that many games available at the moment, really allow you to enjoy it at some point. The variable refresh rate is something that's going to be coming in a future firmware update, but out of the box, 4K 120 is available. With the gaming mode and an input lag of less than 9 milliseconds for a TV of this size, that is very impressive. And with the built-in speakers alone through the acoustic surface audio, you actually get a pretty good experience with the sound coming through the screen that is not only full but immersive. Just to sum things up though, the 4K gaming experience was incredible. Similar to the movie watching experience, all the details, the colors, the contrast, the refresh rate, those are all very important aspects, because if one of those categories is not met, then a TV is not really the best option to play certain games. So if you're familiar with TVs, you might know that traditionally the speakers absolutely suck. And even with great TVs that are very expensive on the market, there just doesn't seem to be a huge focus on it. And one of the biggest reasons why I went ahead and purchased a Sony TV when I was first setting up this office lounge is because there was a huge focus on the actual built-in speakers before I had planned to get some actual speakers for the space. And this technology is called the Acoustic Surface Audio Plus. And what that essentially means is that the sound essentially comes out of the OLED panel, and when you actually hear something like playing out of it, if you walk right up and listen to it, it literally does give you like a bit of a confusing kind of experience as to where exactly that sound is coming out of, because it literally does come out of the screen. And if you look at the back, there's also some spots for the subwoofer and everything to give you the maximum experience out of a built-in TV speaker. And I feel like for a TV of this size, it really does take advantage of it. And I think it is nice that it serves multiple purposes beyond bringing you the best image quality possible. So on paper, it is a dual 20-watt and also dual 10-watt speaker setup, which just in terms of the amount of power that it's able to produce is a lot more than any other TV that you're going to find on the market. And the good thing about it is that even though it sounds very good and it has like the 3D surround optimization that is able to sense the room and adjust the speaker EQ accordingly, it also is able to do that through the remote control depending on where you're sitting and adjust that towards you. And that is nice if you're just using the TV on its own, but if you decide to add like a speaker system and eventually invest on like a hi-fi setup or like a real surround setup, the speaker that is built in that is already very good doesn't go to waste, because it can actually be used as a center channel. And so you could actually plug in through the speaker wire to your receiver to utilize the speaker that is in the display and is going to give you the most immersive direction possible to just bring like your audio experience to the next level and give you like a true surround feel. In terms of the actual sound quality, it is hands down the best sounding built-in speakers that I have heard on any TV. It's not even close. But obviously, if you're going to compare it to like a sound bar or like an actual speaker setup, that obviously sounds better. But if you just want to have like a very simple TV, like home theater setup, and you don't want to have like too many things around it, or may not have the space because you went with the 83-inch model, then that speaker really doesn't disappoint at all. But if you do want to use a sound bar, the stand this year can actually be raised up and you can just slide one right underneath accordingly. So I'd say, just to sum it up, the Acoustic Surface Audio Plus is definitely a feature that is very effective and not like a gimmick or anything. And if you're like deciding between like a few different TVs on the market, I think a lot of people will see value in that specific feature alone. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is a smart TV experience, and the 2021 lineup from Sony runs Google TV. And Google TV essentially gives you the whole suite of applications, the ability to rent movies, download all of your favorite streaming platforms, but in addition to that, there's also AirPlay support, and also the Sony streaming platform that has all of the lossless movies and content that you can download to once again fully take advantage of the TV. The overall Google TV experience is relatively smooth and has everything that you need, but I actually keep my TV watching experience relatively simple. I mainly just use Netflix, YouTube, or like a boxing streaming app, for example, like DAZN. And there's actually a YouTube and Netflix button right here, which is really nice. But what I also use a lot is AirPlay, whether it's streaming audio over or connecting the MacBook to it and having like team meetings. I know that doesn't like take advantage of the TV to its fullest, but it just goes to show that they have all the streaming platforms and compatibility throughout the board. And if you're just like on YouTube, for example, on your smartphone and want to be able to stream directly, or just like search something out on Google and stream it to your TV right away, it all has support for those functions, which I always think is important. So you don't have to go ahead and buy like an Apple TV or like a Google Chromecast, especially after you spent this much money on the A90J. Sony actually has their own streaming service called Bravia Core. It is able to stream lossless Blu-ray, high bitrate quality content to the TV, and there's actually also an IMAX enhanced section as well. Netflix calibrated mode is intended to allow the viewer watch the movie or TV show exactly the way that the creator intended it. It is also nice that the remote is backlit, and through the Bluetooth connectivity and the mic built in, it is also used for the audio calibration as well. So at the end of the day, what are my opinions of the Sony A90J 83-inch TV? And as you can tell, I absolutely love it, and it's simply because I've had one before and I knew what to expect, and this just took everything to the next level. Every single small nitpicky thing that I may not have liked from the previous generation has been fixed right here, whether it's the stand setup and the versatility that you have, as well as the HDMI 2.1 to really take advantage of the PS5 that came out late last year. And overall, if you're looking for the best TV that is currently available on the market in terms of size, the panel technology, having great contrast, amazing optimization, and built-in streaming platforms that are literally able to take advantage of the TV specifically, on the spec sheet and on the optimization side, this is the best that you can get. But you also have to remember that it comes in at a price, and a pretty high price. So it really does have to be for someone who really enjoys watching movies, is going to use it very often, and can really appreciate the details of the best TV possible on the market for this category. And if you're willing to spend that money and you're looking for that very best, then I feel like this TV definitely fulfills that criteria. For any general consumer though, the A80J might be the model to look into because this just might be too expensive, even though it comes in a 55 and 65-inch model. It really does depend, and when it comes to any world of video or audio, there's definitely a diminishing return at some point, and this is what I would consider the equivalent of the top line of a consumer TV. Once again, if you guys want to go ahead and check this TV out for yourself, just go to bestbuy.ca for more details and to buy. Through video, I really can't do justice as to just how good it looks, but I can tell you that the brightness levels, the contrast, the sharpness, and the motion and everything just really does come together. And the Acoustic Audio Plus does sound really good, and it definitely does live up to its immersive promise, and it really does seem like the sound comes straight out of the screen. In addition to the speaker setup that I have right now, I feel like this has all come together in being the ultimate OLED home theater experience for the office lounge in what was already a really nice setup before. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next one.